Bangladesh is one of the most densely populated countries on Earth. The Muslim-majority nation is packed into the world's largest river delta, which flows into the Bay of Bengal. Despite suffering floods and widespread poverty, the people of Bangladesh exhibit remarkable resilience and pride. The People's Republic of Bangladesh is located in the eastern part of the ancient region of Bengal. The vast Ganges Delta is formed through the flow of rivers coming down from the Himalayas. Earliest records of civilization date back to the first millennium BC. Initially influenced by Buddhist and Hindu dynasties, the area of Bengal was ultimately dominated by Islam in the 13th century. By the 16th century, the region developed into a wealthy center of trade and industry. Eventually, the British Crown and its East India Company came to dominate this part of the Asian subcontinent. When Hindu India declared independence in 1947, its Muslim population formed one Pakistan divided into West and East. Neglect and domination by the West Pakistani government eventually led to war and a struggle toward autonomy for the East Bengalis. Beginning in March of 1971, the war lasted 9 months, with casualties in the millions and many more displaced. Subsequently, with the help of the Indian Army, Bangladesh gained independence in December 1971. The new state endured further political turmoil and many military coups. With democracy being restored in 1991, relative calm and economic progress has followed. The economy of Bangladesh has performed well, gaining about 6% annually over the last 2 decades and reaching World Bank lower middle income status in 2015. Nearly 2/3 of the workforce is employed in agriculture, with rice the single most important product. Bangladesh produces about 80% of the world's jute, a natural fiber used to make cloth, rope, and bags. Highly prized tea is grown on scenic slopes of the northeast. Most of Bangladesh's export earnings come from the garment industry, which also generates some 20 million low-paying jobs. Nonetheless, Bangladesh remains underdeveloped due to ill governance and corruption. Many industries are primitive by modern standards. Climate and geography also hamper the country's development. Cyclones, flooding, sea level change, and droughts have devastated great parts of the population. Bangladesh is now widely recognized to be one of the countries most vulnerable to climate change. At 162 million, Bangladesh is one of the most densely populated countries in the world. Sunni Muslims account for nearly 90% of the population, making it the 3rd most populous Muslim country after Indonesia and Pakistan. Islam was made the state religion in 1988. The main minority, Hinduism, accounts for a little over 9% of the population. The remaining 0.5% consists of Buddhists and Christians, of which Catholics are the majority. The earliest recorded Catholic presence were the Portuguese missionaries and traders in Porto Grande, Chittagong, where they built the region's first churches during the 16th century. The Jesuits opened their first mission in 1600. In 1852, the Vicariate of Eastern Bengal, with headquarters in Dhaka, was entrusted to the newly founded Congregation of the Holy Cross. The Diocese of Dhaka was canonically erected in 1886.
Although church is a very small minority, we feel in Bangladesh we have a role to play in development work, but development with a religious dimension. Through Caritas, through other organizations, we have, for example, so many educational institutions. We cannot think one day of becoming a big community here, a Christian community. We'll have to be always salt of the earth.
The majority of Catholics in Bangladesh are people of tribal origin. It is in these indigenous areas that the Church is working to educate, develop, and evangelize. Through its work, the Church hopes to dignify and elevate the lives of these marginalized communities. Unfortunately, in the past years, the rise of fundamentalism has coincided with an increase in violence.
As minorities, the tribal people are often attacked, tortured, received, the lands are grabbed by the majority Muslims especially. From the gospel value, we feel the need of defending these defenseless people and to be with them and to suffer with them.